It's been about 6 weeks since I bought the Google Pixel tablet, and I'm going to show you everything you get when you buy one of these things, give you some of my first impressions of it, and I'll answer all of the questions that you sent in. First question, are there any real ecosystem benefits that you get from using this with a Pixel phone? Similar to what you might get with an Android and Chromebook setup. So yes, there are some ecosystem benefits you get. For example, when you get a pair of headphones that you've saved on one Android device and you put them on, they'll automatically appear on the Pixel tablet. Same thing for, let's say you copy a link, you can use Nearby Share to easily, just with one click, send that link to the Pixel tablet from your Android device. It doesn't even have to be a Pixel device. So anything that's like an Android ecosystem feature that Google has marketed and that you've seen and been able to use on an Android phone with another Android tablet, you can do all of those same things with the Pixel tablet. That's one of the biggest benefits of the tablet just running Android. And related to that question, someone else asked, how good is the sync between other Android devices? Is the sync better if you have a Google Pixel product, Google Messages on Google tablet? Is it as good as iOS? As a loaded question there. Is it better if you have a Google Pixel phone with the Pixel tablet? So far in my experience, no. You get the ecosystem benefits as long as you have an Android phone. Now, let me know in the comments though, I don't know every Android ecosystem benefit out there, so if there is one that you have experience with that you know only works with Pixel phones, definitely let me know in the comments below. But in general, no. And then, is it as good as iOS? No. Apple has just had a few years more to develop their ecosystem than Google has with their hardware products. The things that Apple really does well are things like continuity, right? I click Command-C on a link on my iPad, and then I just tap and hold and click paste on my iPhone, and the link just pastes. It's just like a bit more seamless than what Google has you do, where you like tap on a link, tap share, find send to device, then select the device. Like, it's a couple more steps on Android for like link sharing from one device to another. Apple's is much more seamless. Apple also allows you to use an iPad as like a second screen. You can just put it next to a Mac and just drag your cursor over to the iPad screen. Like, it just works. It works pretty flawlessly. My question would be, if it's a compromised device, mid-range specs that don't necessarily excel for actual usage experience, would you be better off having a Home Hub Max and a higher spec tablet for around the same money rather than this hybrid device? So is this like a compromised device? That really depends on what your expectations for the Pixel tablet were. For me, what I wanted out of this device was I wanted a Nest Hub Max that actually had a fluid OS that wasn't laggy, and I feel like the Nest Hub Max is actually the one that's a bit more compromised. Google started off just making smart photo displays, but then over time they added more to the OS. They wanted it to feel like more app-like when you brought up apps on the display, things like that. And after a certain point, I'm sure they were just like, why don't we just make a version of this that runs Android? And once they announced the Pixel tablet and I saw that it had a speaker dock, I was like, oh, that's what they're making. And that's exactly what I want. So the Pixel tablet is that. It is a smart photo display, but it does just so much more than the Nest Hub Max does because it runs Android. Google Smart Home controls, for example, they're fine. On the Nest Hub Max, they're great, but you know what's better? Being able to actually put like the Philips Hue app on the tablet itself and to have widgets on the home screen, so you just one tap and it turns on a scene in a room. Like, that is a much better experience. So I would definitely caution you from thinking of the Pixel tablet like it's competing against the iPad. It's not. What it really is, in the form factor that Google has designed it for, it's a smarter smart home control tablet. You can also use it for consumption, for consuming media. The other thing that's better about this tablet than almost any other tablet is the speaker charging dock. So you put it on, it charges, and it's always ready to use. Kind of like our sponsor, Roborock. I've been using Roborock vacuums for a while now because they automate my cleaning and they actually clean my carpets pretty well. For a limited time, the company is putting two of their most popular robots on sale: the S8 Pro Ultra, Roborock's most advanced robot, and the Q Revo, a budget-friendly version that also has a multifunction dock. Both docks will auto-empty, wash the mops, dry them, as well as refill the robot's water tank and house dirty water for easy cleanup. Both can easily map your home with advanced LiDAR. You can view the map in the Roborock app to create rooms and set schedules for your robot. The only things the Q Revo doesn't have compared to the S8 Pro Ultra is a self-cleaning dock, Viba Rise 2.0 mop system, a dual brush system, upgraded reactive 3D obstacle avoidance, and 6,000 Pascal of suction power. You can get the Q Revo on sale for $699 US or 22% off its list price, and you can get the S8 Pro Ultra for $1,199 US or 25% off its list price, but only for a limited time. So make sure you click that link in the description below, and then you too can enjoy the freedom of not having to vacuum. Alright, and back to the Pixel tablet. Is the Pixel tablet the Android tablet that we were all waiting for? Is it good to be used as a tablet? Again, it depends on what type of tablet experience you were waiting for. If you were waiting for a tablet experience like my iPad Pro here, that's mainly a productivity as well as a consumption device, no, that is not the experience that Google delivers with the Pixel tablet. To be fair to Google, nor was it the one they intended. This tablet is meant to be a smart photo display, a home control that you can run Android on, and a consumption device. If that is what you are looking for, then Google knocked it out of the park. I think it's actually a very good tablet and makes a very good second display for a desk environment. It's great when I want to control my lights or something else in my smart home. I also bring up Google Docs and other apps all the time on it when I just want another display kind of next to my computer. It doesn't have to be large. It's pretty good for that as well. And while Google didn't primarily design the Pixel tablet for productivity, you can, of course, connect it to a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse. And it does, of course, have a software keyboard as well, though the typing experience on it is a little awkward. I find I use Google's voice dictation a lot with this tablet, and with Tensor 2, the voice dictation and accuracy is very good. All right, next question. How does it function as a Nest Hub? What's its battery life like? How good is the experience of using a stylus? I've not used a stylus with it. Google doesn't actually offer one, although I think it does have support for a specific type of stylus. That'll be something I'll make sure to cover and talk about a little bit more in our 6 months later main review of this product. Other part of your question though, how does it function as a Nest Hub? Functions very well. It's very similar to the Nest Hub Max in terms of the way it displays photos. I mean, it looks pretty much exactly the same. There is one downside I found with it so far. I believe this is a bug, but it's been driving me crazy that Google hasn't fixed it yet. And that's when you move the tablet to the speaker dock, the auto dimming brightness for when the tablet recognizes it's on the speaker dock seems to be completely separate from the settings that you set and the algorithm you train when the tablet is off the speaker dock. So the brightness, the auto brightness will be fine on the tablet when it's off the dock. I put it back onto the dock and it dims too low, and I constantly find myself having to bring the brightness up every single day. It's been driving me crazy. Another thing, I did a video that compares the Pixel tablet with the Nest Hub Max, so I'll link that here and in the video below. You can go there to see more about how these two compare. The only other thing I would generally mention is the Nest Hub Max is much more aggressive in its changing the white balance of the display compared to the Pixel tablet. Also, another unexpected behavior is while in hub mode, if someone rings my Nest doorbell, the Pixel tablet doesn't bring up the feed from the doorbell and then allow me to answer it like it would on a Nest Hub, but apparently that will change with a future software update according to Google's blog. All right, and this is another related question. Is it more of a home device instead of an actual tablet? Yes, that is its primary design function, I would argue. It is primarily there to be a Nest Hub when you're not interacting with the tablet to show your photos. It's great, by the way. That display is also much crisper than both the Nest Hub and the Nest Hub Max, so photos just really pop on it, especially if you have like nice high quality photos in your Google Photos library, it looks really good. It is the best photo display that Google has ever made. It's really great for a desk environment. I find myself controlling my smart home from it, bringing up Android apps. It's really good for Sonos systems as well, even though if you're an Android user primarily, you probably don't have Sonos speakers because Sonos refuses to adopt Google Cast. But if you, for whatever reason, have Sonos speakers, I actually find myself using the Sonos app on it all the time. Other media apps when I'm playing on my speakers. It's really great for that. Like the Nest Hub and Nest Hub Max, sure, you had access to YouTube and YouTube Music, but you know what's better than just kind of having the stripped down version of those services? Having their full apps running on the tablet. Okay, next question, speed in general and multitasking on Tensor. How does it compare to the iPad using heavy apps? It really depends on what you mean by heavy apps. And let me know down in the comments for the 6 months later review if there are any specific apps that are heavy in multitasking that you want me to test here. In general though, I have used the split screen quite a bit on the Pixel tablet actually. Typically for me, it's like having Sonos or a media player up on one side, Google Docs up on the other. So those aren't really like memory intensive tasks, but in terms of like dragging windows and apps around and stuff, like nothing's felt laggy on the Pixel tablet. Like Tensor 2 does deliver an experience that it feels very snappy, even though the display refresh rate isn't like 120 or 90 hertz, it's still 60, which even with gaming on it, Carrier Landing app or like Need for Speed, some of the ones I use, downloaded those on the tablet, and to my surprise, they actually worked. Pretty much every app I've tried has worked on the tablet, although some are just like Instagram or Threads. They're not optimized for the tablet experience, which is kind of frustrating. All right, next question. Can you feel the 8 gigs of RAM when multitasking? So that's related to the heavy apps I just answered earlier. No, so far everything's been snappy, smooth, but again, I'm not using like video editing apps or photo editing apps or something that would be a very intensive app. Oh, and also the Google Assistant on it is pretty snappy. I just did our 6 months later review on the HomePod, and we did a assistant response time there, and the Google Assistant is still quite slow on this. Even though I've reduced the number of Google Assistant devices in my room now to 2, I just have a Nest Hub over in that corner and then the Pixel tablet. Given that this has Tensor 2 in there, it should be able to process some of the response times like turning off lights and things quicker. All right, last question. How is the movie watching experience? Better than I thought it would be. It is quite nice. It's got a pretty good pixel density. I've watched like Avatar 2 on it for a bit. Wear headphones though if you're gonna watch anything on it. The audio experience is just gonna be better. The speakers on it are fine. Not great, not bad though. And one thing that's great about this I hadn't talked about yet, the weight of this tablet. Very, very good. Like you could definitely tell it still has a metal construction, but I really like this grippy outer finish that Google has on it. It's quite nice to hold in your hand for long periods of time. For movie watching in particular, a lot of movies are in a wider aspect ratio, so they actually look fine on this tablet. All right, so that's what you get with the Google Pixel tablet. Those are some of my impressions as well as the answers to your questions. If you have any further questions about the Pixel tablet, leave those in the comments below. I'll try to answer them. Let me know what you'd like to see in the full 6 months later review of this tablet, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel to see that video, and consider giving this video a thumbs up if you liked it and found it helpful. Really helps out the channel. And then to see more videos on Google products as well as our comparison between the Nest Hub Max and the Pixel tablet, you can get to those by clicking on the links above. For 6 months later, I'm Josh Tedder. Thanks for watching.